What's going on? Welcome to Truth Wizard. Welcome back to Truth Wizard. Either way, good to see you. Good to have you. Thanks for joining. Good to be here. Today, we've got some TikToks that might be a little bit controversial, but that's okay. That's why we're here. Let's stay open-minded. Let's give it a shot. We're going to start off strong. Before we get into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for me, please, and thank you. Did I mention hit the like and hit the subscribe?
Have you noticed it too? People are turning back to nature. Paganism and witchcraft are on the rise in ways that we haven't seen in centuries. Let's talk about why. I'm the gentleman occultist, and here's the truth. When the systems that are supposed to support society begin to fail, people go looking for power elsewhere. We are watching the collapse of trust in institutions in real time. Religion feels rigid, politicized, and disconnected from daily life. Government feels corrupt or incapable of solving real-world problems. And social structures feel exhausted, outdated, and unsustainable. And whenever this happens in history, the same pattern emerges. People return to the oldest wisdom they can find, something primal, something human, something rooted in the earth, not in hierarchies. And that is why paganism and witchcraft are rising again. Not because they're trends, but because they reconnect us to something the modern world stripped away. Paganism says that you are part of nature, not separate from it. Witchcraft tells you that the power that you are seeking is already inside of you. And both tell you that you do not need a middleman to experience the divine.
I wonder why they tell you it's evil and stay away from it. I wonder, why would they tell you that it's evil and you should stay away from it?
In a world where political leaders are failing, religious authority is crumbling, and people feel spiritually starved, that message hits different. People are done placing their fate in the hands of systems that don't protect them. They are reclaiming their power, their intuition, and their connection to the natural world. The same thing our ancestors understood long before these institutions existed. This isn't a rebellion, it is a remembering. So yes, people are turning back to paganism because ancient knowledge is resurfacing the exact moment we need it. The old world is falling apart, and we are rebuilding the new one from the roots up.
How are we at the end of 2024 and nobody's talking about this? I'm just playing. This is the very famous CIA declassified document, The Gateway Experience, where it dives into things like astral projection, the fact that a woman's womb is a portal, and that we're living in a holographic reality. You've probably seen 1,000 videos of people talking about this document, but what nobody talks about is why the CIA was looking into this. Meet Robert Monroe. He was born in 1915 and was a radio broadcasting network executive, but he became obsessed with consciousness. Why? Because he spontaneously started having out-of-body experiences. I believe he was in his 30s or his 40s when he started feeling this vibration within. He said it felt like his entire body was vibrating. And one night when he went to sleep, he felt that vibration, and all of a sudden he rose out of his body. He looked down, he saw himself, he saw his wife, and he was freaked out. Talks about trying to swim back to his body. But dude was shook. He was pretty well off from his businesses, so he went to a bunch of doctors to get tested to see if he had brain tumors, something that was going on, if he was going crazy. Because what you need to understand is out-of-body experiences at this time were not commonly talked about in the West. You go to the East and they're like, bro, we've been doing this for literally thousands of years. He gets tested, everything's normal, physical-wise. He goes to psychiatrists, they test him, everything's fine. He's not going crazy. He decided to turn his skepticism of what he's been experiencing into an interest, an exploration. And that's what he dedicated his life to. Radio was transitioning to TV, but he was obsessed with sound. And so he wanted to explore if you could use sound as a medium to help people achieve higher altered states of consciousness. He hired a team of scientists, one being Thomas Campbell, a physicist. The whole goal was to see if they could replicate what Robert Monroe was experiencing. if there was a method to the madness. How can they decode this consciousness through the scientific method? We're going to talk about Campbell in the next video. As through working with Monroe, the experiments that they would run, they identified processes to replicate it so that anybody without training can have these experiences. Essentially demystifying the mysticism that a lot of people attach with this. In my opinion, they show just how much everything is connected. So anyways, Monroe started experimenting with frequencies to aid with learning or relaxation. And what he noticed is that his out-of-body experiences became more frequent. He could leave his body and observe himself. He would travel to non-physical realms. In that state, time doesn't exist. So in 1970, he set up the Monroe Institute. It became the hub for scientific and spiritual exploration. It attracted researchers, psychologists, physicists, philosophers, spiritual seekers from all over the world. All of his experiences are what caught the eye of the CIA. This is why they tested and wanted to see if there was any truth there. And this is where these declassified documents come from. Monroe was not the only person to have these experiences, but he was one of the most famous and well-known. He developed a technology called hemisync, where basically you can use frequencies to achieve altered states of consciousness, deep relaxation, get to meditative states easier. How it works is one frequency is played in one ear, another frequency at a different rate is played into another ear. Your brain will sync them together. It is not audible to you, but your brain perceives this third frequency. This encourages the left and right hemispheres of your brain to synchronize. Depending on the frequencies, it can take you into deep concentration, deep focus, deep relaxation, or even the body asleep, mind awake state. We're going to talk about this dude in the next video because this book, My Big Toe, she thick. What did they find with their lifetime of dedication to the exploration of consciousness? Oh, you know, that we just live in a holographic reality and everything that you see is being projected from you and your consciousness.
Putting a tree inside your house for Christmas is one of the most pagan things you can do. I'm the Gentleman Occultist, and let's talk about where this comes from. Long before Christmas ever existed, ancient pagan cultures across Europe celebrated Yule, the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. And during that darkness, they brought evergreen branches, wreaths, and whole trees into their homes as a symbol of life that survives the winter. And the evergreen tree became a promise. Light will return, spring will come again, life endures. And this tradition didn't just come from one place. Several cultures shared this idea. Some of the biggest influence came from Germanic and Norse paganism. During Yule, people would decorate their evergreen trees with apples, candles, runes, charms, and it represented the sun, blessings, and the spirit of their ancestors. Evergreens were believed to protect the home from evil spirits during the dark months. The Celts viewed the evergreens as sacred because
that sounds so incredibly evil, doesn't it? My God. Wow. I got to run to church right now and dive straight into a pool of holy water. It's that evil. Do we see how they manipulate everything? And before anybody's going to sit here and try to debunk this and talk shit about it, let's keep in mind something. We just had 3 million documents dumped to the public that allegedly point to this realm being controlled by absolute weirdos performing extreme weirdo activity, and people believe they are trading tiny humans and eating them. So if we're going to believe that, and if that's a genuine possible reality, that those events had taken place, or they still are taking place, then I don't see how it's so insane for someone to process they've manipulated everything. And they've told you to stay away from this kind of stuff because it actually is what you should be practicing and studying. it gets you back to your, I guess you could say, a true self, true nature, a connection with this. I keep saying realm because that's just the best way to describe it. I mean, I guess earth could work too, but in my head, earth means that we're on a round spinning ball flying one direction through the universe at, again, whatever, hundreds of thousands of miles. And honestly, that just seems also insane to me. It just does. It's stupid. That's bullshit. That's not real. That's not what we're doing. So this is more for me. This is just more proof that it's manipulation, man. But again, emotions. There's little things here and there, little buzzwords, phrases, or just the flat out, just they'll come right out and tell you how evil this is, and they'll show you imagery and tell you things so it scares you. So now we go back to fear. You're terrified of it. Believe this instead. What is this? It's the Holy Bible. And whatever they have cherry picked and left in or taken out is what they've given to you. And they are interpreting this in a very specific way, even if the interpretations are incorrect. So it steers you into the direction that they want.
They stayed green when everything else died. They would bring branches indoors as protection and good luck, believing that they housed woodland spirits. Romans decorated their homes with evergreen boughs during the festival of Saturnalia, celebrating renewal and the return of the sun. So how did this tradition become Christmas? Well, centuries later, Christian missionaries realized that they couldn't get pagans to give up their winter traditions. So they absorbed them. By the Middle Ages, the Yule tree blended with Christian symbolism. Apples became ornaments, candles became lights, blessings became prayers, evergreen protection became a Christmas miracle. But the meaning, renewal, hope, and the return of the sun stayed the same. So whether you want to call it Yule or Christmas, the symbolism mostly stays the same. It is about life in the dead of winter and hope when there is darkness. And it's a reminder that warmth and light always return. Ex tenebris lux.
What you are about to witness is a solar eclipse. This is from a high altitude in the plane. You can clearly see, as you can see, it's blocking the sun to the right of the picture so far. This is observable evidence. The observation of what is happening here is proving that the sun is local, and so is whatever is blocking the sun. It's not the moon, is it? You can't see the moon. You can't see the moon blocking the sun.
So, pause. I mean, here's the thing. When you look at this footage, and I know I don't say this just to be argumentative or just to go against the grain. Like, you hear folks say this, but this is a true situation, a true reality. I can look at this and I can see that this sun is not, again, whatever, 6 million miles away or whatever the hell it is. It just seems not likely because I can look at this and, again, visibly, like, just call it an instinct, your intuition, whatever. Like, this is not millions of miles away. And the whole moon thing too. So I've thought the same thing, and I've questioned the same thing. If it's the moon covering the sun, like, how do you not see the moon ever during a solar eclipse? So we have the earth, we have the moon, and then the sun, and the moon is moving in between the earth and the sun, right? So as an observer, so again, like, how do you not see even just a solid outline of it? Like the videos I've seen of a solar eclipse, there's not like a hard line of anything. It's just not until the sun's starting to be covered do you observe like a disc shape, but there's nothing that resembles the moon at all. And I wonder, how in the hell do you not see the moon? Like, shouldn't the light illuminate some portion of the moon as it's approaching, right? Does that make sense? So Earth, again, moon's moving. I mean, there should be some kind of light illuminating a part of the moon. It would be my understanding. But my favorite would it be, they're going to give you some ridiculous explanation that sounds more ridiculous than me or someone else just bringing this up. And I'm sure plenty of you right now are going, well, actually, it's because. Okay, that's fine and fair enough, but it just, again, like, use your eyes and what do you see? What's observable? Because I've seen the moon in the sky with the sun during certain cycles when it aligns to where they are in the sky together. And I mean, you can see the entire moon. So I can see, like, again, perspective maybe from where the moon's at. And some of you are saying, yeah, you're starting to get it, buddy, because of where the moon, again, maybe, but I still just, I don't know, like, my mind doesn't let me picture that. And not because I want this to be true, that it's a conspiracy, but I just don't still see how that's possible with, again, light and how the light's scattered, or even if, the Earth has some kind of light hitting it from the sun, if there's just zero reflection to the moon, I don't know. But this shit, when you look at it, it just kind of seems like it's not what you've been told, like everything else.
What you believe is causing that eclipse is not what they're telling you. You just believe something. You believe the moon is blocking it. But look at the shade on the left-hand side of it. It's blocking the sun's light still, but you can't see what's blocking it. You can't see the edge of what's blocking it. You just see the sun blocked out. That's light. That's it. This is a solar eclipse at high altitude.
Now look at this shit. If you don't think
I'm seeing
our
this.
government had this 50 years ago, if not longer, you're sadly mistaken. Now they also got it on a larger scale than this, okay? Which means, what can you do with invisibility, people? Right?
A lot.
I mean, there's so much you can do with invisibility. So trust and believe. If they got invisibility, they also do have ways like time warping, like stargating, like they can pop into your house and you would not know it. You might be hearing the floor creak or something like that. Wake up, people. The technology is insane.
Pentagram is not
So
evil.
that's qualifies for me. I've seen a lot of folks very recently saying how with the files, how their silence is deafening, like by them not saying anything about this, that's the tell. And I 100% agree. Excuse me, because I've said the same thing. I feel the same way. When they don't talk about something, I kind of feel like that's the indicator that it exists, or they just choose not to acknowledge it. So again, the whole out of sight, out of mind, like it's very real. It does exist, but you're being bombarded with, everything else but. And that's kind of obvious. And it's for a reason, is the thing as well. Have any of you seen, I need to find this video if I can find it. So OG YouTube, 15, 18 years ago, somewhere around there was a video on YouTube that was filmed in Iraq during that conflict, during the Obama administration. And it was someone filming a firefight. I don't know the town it was in, but it was in a town. Plenty of buildings. I recall there being a tank or two in frame, in view. And then they had some Humvees. American soldiers were out, beside the Humvees, kind of taking cover behind the tanks. But then you see clearly a person running. Like it's a humanoid figure entity, very human-esque, but it looked like that guy, like it was cloaked. But you could still see like the outline of this person moving. And what they did was they were running, and you could tell because it was like, again, the light kind of reflecting off, and it looked like a lot like Predator. Hopefully you've seen Predator and what it looked like cloaked, but you could just kind of see the movements and just the reflection of the plants and stuff on the body of the Predator. And then this person crawled on top of one of the tanks, and that's when it got real intriguing. I'll try to find that video. Hopefully it still exists somewhere. It's got to be somewhere. That's what it reminds me of.
Represents the 5 elements, with spirit always on the top. The spirit is the force that creates physical matter. It's the most important one. So this represents spirit over matter. Now, when we turn this pentagram upside down, we get this symbol with spirit on the bottom. Now, this represents matter over spirit. This is the symbol that represents the material worship. Goat head inside of the pentagram is very symbolic. A goat is a ground animal, representing the lower self. And angels have wings, which is an air animal, which is the higher self. So this represents the worship of the material plane and cutting off your spirituality. Pentagram is also the geometric shape of the human body. And spirit is in the head, the third eye.
Oh my gosh! The first image from the James Webb Space Telescope. And here it is. Galaxies to the edge of time. Oh my gosh. You know how big an area this is on the sky? Take a grain of sand, hold it at arm's length, and ask, how much of the sky does that cover? This is the area covered by that grain of sand as seen by the James Webb Space Telescope 1 million miles from Earth. Oh my gosh. Oh, by the way, there's some spiky stuff.
Pause. So, a prime example. First of all, I'm not a Neil deGrasse Tyson fan. I'm just not. He's a very smug individual for my liking. And people like myself who would ask questions, he's the kind of guy who would make you feel stupid for asking those questions. And I just find it a little unfair. And this is what they do. This is what they do, though. Everything is based on you being insignificant. Take this little grain of sand, hold it up. That represents all the sky and all the galaxies, and you can't even imagine. Like, that is such horseshit. That is the con. Everything that they tell you makes you seem insignificant. I'm sorry, it's just so damn obvious. You can't ever imagine anything. There's all these galaxies. And here's the problem that I have with this. How can we see all this? We can take photos of the universe, all these galaxies 1 million miles away from Earth. But yet, we have so many unanswered questions here about our own planet. We don't even have working cell phones throughout parts of Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, because there's just no coverage, because there's no towers. But all the satellites, we have no coverage. So it's by design, or they're still full of shit about something somewhere, that we have all this great technology to look at all this, know all these things. NASA can identify planets 5 light years, 100 million light years, 5 billion light years, whatever the ridiculous example. They are always talking about how they can identify planets a just insane distance from our own. Tell us what kind of gas it's made up of, and the composition. It could host life potentially. How do you know this? How? And the answer is you don't. And if you are able to identify all those things, then you are really withholding some ridiculous technology from us, the people. I mean, it's just that easy. You've got some crazy, crazy technology that you are not ever going to reveal to us, or you're full of shit. And I think it's option B, that they're full of it. I just don't, it's so stupid. We can't fight crime. No one knows where any cartels are. No one can do anything about the human smuggling situations going on. We can't ever seem to stop anything. But yet they can tell us all this information. Do you see the problem with that? I can't stand this, man. Like, this is insane. And this is the problem with religion too. Religion makes you mass taught religion, okay? Mass taught Christianity. Not the basic like principles of just being a good person, but like when you get down to the little more in depths of it, to the depths of it, how if there's anything that you want to practice or believe, that you empower yourself, you're going to hell. Because you're not surrendering yourself to Jesus or God, whatever, and you're not just believing that in full and giving yourself to him. So because you're not doing that, you get to roast in hell for all eternity. They're making you insignificant. They're taking that power away from you. And when you believe that and you practice that version of religion, all I'm saying, what the hell just happened? All I'm saying is maybe that's why things go your way, don't go your way. I don't know. We tend to, give all credit to God, but if you put the work in, you put the dedication, you are educating yourself, you're reading, you're making the efforts, whatever it is you're doing, apply that to anything. You still refuse to give yourself credit for doing any of that. And I have a problem with that. I'm sorry. I just think it's setting you up in life again for you to be insignificant, for you saying that you're not worthy of anything. Without this other party, I'm nothing. I don't matter. Like, what the fuck, man? I have a problem with that. It's just, that's just not, I don't know, man. That sounds to me and looks to me that's something that I would tell a person or a lot of people if I wanted them to be under my spell and I wanted them to do what I said and not ask any questions.
Here, these are just stars sitting on our nose, on our own Milky Way galaxy, and it's called diffraction spikes, and it happens from the hardware inside the telescope. So just ignore these. Look at everything else that's in this image. Especially, they're galaxies that take the shape of arcs. These are really distant galaxies, not in their own business, and they happen to move by a supermassive cluster of galaxies halfway to us. And in moving through the fabric of space and time, they got distorted because of the gravity of this supercluster.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And so it forms arcs that make a circular pattern around the center of
and
the
you
image.
know all
There's
this
a lot going on here. Oh
exactly
Just
how.
Congratulations to NASA, the thousands of scientists, engineers, Northrop Grumman, and everybody else who made this real, bringing the universe down to Earth. Keep looking up.
So here's my question. Again, I don't like the idea of just arguing about the Earth being round or flat, because I don't think. Well, actually, I know that flat Earth is not the representation that they've tried to make it, where they show you the picture of like the quarter style disc with icicles hanging down, and it's made a mockery of the idea. And don't get me wrong, like any community, there are some extreme just super cheesy flat earthers, and they go overboard. It's like that in everything. There's people like that, like all of it. So let's take that away, and let's just consider that the earth is in fact flat. Okay, it is some type of a disc to oblong shape, but this realm, earth, whatever we live on, is in fact a timeline in and of itself, if that makes any sense. This is just my, again, shooting from the hip here. Okay, so we're the earth, the realm is a timeline. It's its own entity, and these other little potential galaxies, assuming these aren't fictitious and made up, are like other earths, other realms, other timelines you could get to. And maybe, just maybe, the electromagnetic energy that flows through and around these different realms is how you could have free energy. How, if that tether video from the other day, if you didn't see it, go back and watch my previous video talking about the NASA experiment where they were using a long 12-foot tether to harness electricity, essentially in space. But it produced way more electricity, allegedly, than they had calculated. So it snapped the tether, whole thing. Now, the whole incident looked a little bit meh. Go watch the video. Anyway, that being said, that to me makes pretty good sense. I can see that being a reality. And the reason why I have a hard time with this, the standardized teachings, is because if we are on a round spherical Earth, a part of a solar system, which is a part of a galaxy, but our solar system is whizzing through the universe at an insanely high rate of speed, just going one direction, we're gone. How do we never see any other planets or stars? And if we're doing this and we're traveling for forever and ever, I've made this video now for 30 minutes. Like, think of how far we've traveled going whatever the fucking mileage is they give you. If it's, I forget, it's incredibly fast. We've already traveled a long way through the universe. How have we never hit another planet, an asteroid, anything? Nothing. Think about that very carefully. No one's in control. It's a literal Jesus take the wheel bumper sticker come to life. And that's what I'm sure be told of why we have not just self-destructed at this point. Think about it. Ball Earth, a part of a solar system, whizzing at several thousand miles per hour, 100,000, whatever, 20,000, whatever the astronomical rate of speed they tell you we're doing, one way through the universe that's also ever expanding. How do we not see any other galaxies or planets, anything else, any closer to us? And in fact, they talk about that comet, the recent comet, that 3I Atlas, whatever the hell it was, how it came into our solar system. Again, if we're moving along at such a high rate of speed, am I crazy? Like, am I thinking about this incorrectly? That comet would have to be moving like double our speed to catch up and enter our solar system so we could even observe it? Surely that's got to make sense. Comment, let me know. I don't think that's a insane mindset to have. Maybe I really am just thinking of this all kind of wrong. I don't know. I just know that the typical explanations they give, all these dramatic, over-the-top explanations, everything is designed to make you feel insignificant, powerless, just obviously at the mercy of whatever entity they've created. And they tell you that That entity is the reason that you're allowed to exist. And I just think that they're full of shit.
Right. How about right there?
I think one of the best things you can do for yourself, and certainly one of the best things I ever did for myself, was picking up research as a hobby and investing in my intelligence even after school, and developing a personal curriculum routine and learning how to teach myself things and being my own teacher and investing in my own education and my own intelligence. The confidence that you will have when you actually spend time during the week to educate yourself, stay informed, expand your vocabulary, you become more well-spoken because you have a wider vocabulary, you're more eloquent when you speak. That kind of confidence is not the kind of fake to make confidence that you can just buy or that you can get from a new makeup routine. It's internal and it's strong and it's real. And also just the confidence that comes from knowing how your own brain works and knowing why you do the things that you do and knowing why you say the things that you say and being really in control of your emotions. Also developing stronger and sharper problem solving and critical thinking skills. You feel so empowered because you understand conflict resolution. You understand how to handle different situations and problems that arise and just the world around you. I guess for me, because I primarily research neuroscience and psychology, so that's what those fall into. But even having a good understanding of the history of your city or the history of your economy and understanding how that works, understanding the psychology of money, having an understanding of basic economic principles, like the confidence that you would have in your financial literacy and your ability to make and manage money is profound. And that can only come from spending the time to teach yourself those things, being informed on current events and where you stand on certain situations and what's really going on and how that affects you and how that affects your community. That is serious competence. And I think that builds a sense of self and a sense of identity that's worthwhile. And your intelligence in your brain and pushing your brain, boosting your memory, boosting your focus, boosting your attention, boosting your critical thinking skills, your ability to think creatively, those kinds of things, that's something that no one can ever take away from you. And it's something that is so much more valuable than the surface level stuff that we typically place so much emphasis on. Do you know what I mean? But really taking the time to develop that for yourself, I think takes a lot of self-respect and a lot of self-love. And if you can prove yourself that you love yourself and respect yourself enough to spend less than 5% of your day, 30 minutes, researching something, teaching yourself something new, teaching yourself a new language, engaging in a new hobby that you find challenging, doing things that are uncomfortable for you that are going to push you to create new neural connections and new neural pathways. That's a level of self-esteem that I don't think you can get anywhere else.
If you don't believe me, take it from her. She was a lot more articulate, a lot more to the point, and a lot more pretty than I. So maybe you'll believe her if you don't believe me. But everything she just said is spot on, especially have your brain firing in a creative manner. It's not a secret or a surprise that they don't want people being critical thinkers, but also think creative thinkers. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Give it a like. Please subscribe. Leave a comment down there. Do you think there is real truth to them hijacking even things like paganism and telling you that certain things are evil when they're not, when it just comes to empowering yourself? Keep in mind, before you answer that immediately, if you're going to fire off and say, no, paganism's bad, witchcraft bad, everything bad, but what they told me. Before you answer that, we just discovered that it's highly likely this realm is being run by people who move little tiny humans around and possibly eat them. So anyway, whatever. I'm going to ramble on if I don't cut this off. So I got to get out of here. Thank you. Have a good night. Come back tomorrow. Like, subscribe.